Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody doing? Getting ready. Christmas is Saturday. So I'm going to Europe. I'm fully vaccinated. Only reason I got vaccinated was to go to Europe. And then a negative COVID test because I got the vaccine until today when Delta says, oh, wait, yeah, I know you're going to a country that you need a vaccine, a negative COVID test, but you do now. So now I have to get a negative COVID test, even though I'm vaccinated. What the hell is all that about? Anyway, so I will be traveling Friday and be there Saturday, and I will do my show Thursday to cover the weekend. Now let's look at week 15. And it's still going on. So I can't, it's until I know what happened in the Rams and Washington, Philly. There's what am I going to say? I don't know whose back's against the wall, who wants the 1 seed. So let's look at last week. So New England needed it for the 1 seed, lost to Indy. Tennessee needed it, and they lost to Pitt. Kansas City needed it. They did get the W. Dallas needed it. They came through. Green Bay came through, although they made it a lot tougher than they needed to. Tampa Bay got shut out, and Arizona loses to the Lions. So I guess their season's over. If you're in a must-win game against the Lions and you get crushed, like, how good a team are you? See, this is my discussion with other people that think they know how to do what I do. And they'll tell me, well, I use the eye test. And person took Arizona against Chicago. Well, look at the eye test. And I says, well, Dalton's the quarterback. I don't know. I know, it's not Fields. Chicago gave him a game. Chicago lost by 11. I won in my teaser. I think it was 7 or 8 points. And he's telling me eye test. And I came out here and said, there's no such thing as an eye test. You can't look at an eye test because it depends who you play. And now let's look at an eye test on Arizona. They just lost to the freaking Lions. Now what are you going to think? They're the worst team in the league? Now if the Lions are a great team? I mean, this is the point. This is why you cannot take 1 week or even 2 weeks. It's all matchups. It's who they play now with injuries and COVID. It's not even COVID. It's a new one that is not harmful at all. It's like the cold. So people are sitting out for getting the cold. It's unbelievable. So you can't look at an eye. There's no eye test because it's one game, right? You're looking at, if you looked at Alabama against LSU, you wouldn't think they're number one. If you looked at them against Auburn, you wouldn't think they're number one. You look at them against Georgia and you go, oh, they're number one. How about the Auburn game the week before, the LSU game? What are you talking about? How about a game when the team actually tried against Alabama? How about the Texas A&M game? Not when Georgia laid down. And that's my point about you got to look at the whole picture. Anyway, so let's walk through. First of all, bowls are $100 for all the bowls through the playoffs. 6 locks are up. I think I have 3 locks with 6. So it's 6 different teams and locks, plus they're all in other teasers. So a plethora of strong plays for you to bet. If you ever want to do a 6-team teaser or an 8-team teaser or whatever, this is the time to do it. I think my locks don't start. They start next week, most of them. Mostly the 29th going forward, just in case. But it'll be a lovely New Year's for you. The rest of the season, $200, you get everything. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. If you don't want it, you get $100 for all the playoffs, $100 for all the bowls. Bon appetit. So let's look at last one. So if we look at the bowls, so far I'm 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, hitting the Old Dominion over of 46. They scored 47. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 4. So I'm 5-1 the first 6. And I played the UTSA under. Because Sensori McCormick, a great running back, is out. Why is he out? What the hell is he out? He's sitting out for the NFL. You know, it's like a joke now. So if you see them out for personnel, they're sitting out. They're losers. They should be playing football. Go play golf or tennis or bowling or something. Go be a wrestler with Ric Flair. Anyway, so that made me bet the under on the game. San Diego State's got a great under. You know, the backup running back will be okay, but nothing special. And I think that game is tonight, the 21st. Is that today? Yeah, so that game might even be on soon. So anyway, if you bought the package, you would have had that. I think I gave it away on Saturday anyway. So let's look at it. Oakland, Cleveland, dead on. Told you to take the under because Mayfield was out. I was surprised how Vegas is moving the line. So something went wrong. Somebody, was sleeping with fish tonight because Oakland went from a 4 to Cleveland a 1 to 3, which was Mayfield's playing, to Mayfield wasn't playing, and they moved it to Oakland 3. They must have got crushed on this game because when Cleveland was 3-point favorite, all that Oakland money won, and then when Oakland turns 3, all the Cleveland money won. You just gave a 6-point spread. You gave a free 6-point middle. What the hell is Vegas doing? Like I said, they're going to run, play defense, and the quarterback's not going to score points. This is what you do when the quarterbacks are injured. Where are you going to get the offense from? Again, tonight, Washington, Philly. I played it under. Why? Because Washington's playing their 4th-string quarterback. Philly might score a little bit. Where's Washington getting their points from? So I took the game under 42, under 48. I thought that's a joke. In the New England, I talked about Sunday. Again, New England with a lot of turnovers. Mac Jones, under pressure, did not perform well. And the late touchdown was a gift that Taylor should have fallen on his knees because he gave Indy one more chance to score, kick an onside kick, which apparently is not as hard as we all think because they're coming. A lot of them are coming through. And anyway, so Indy needed the game a little more than New England. So understand who really, really needs it. Washington, Philly tonight. I took the under. Buffalo, Carolina, about what I thought. I said 28-0, 31-14. Cam Newton can't throw the ball, but he ran it. I mean, this guy's a joke. This is what happens with the running quarterback. You lose 31-14. You look respectable, but your receivers are sitting there and they're going, well, this guy can't even throw a pass. So over under a 44.5, 50.5 is a W. They scored 31-14. Josh Allen looked okay, but again, now 31 on Carolina looks good, but I don't know if it was all him or if there was some turnovers or whatever. Probably some turnovers with Cam Newton. But again, Buffalo backs against the wall, needed to win. Now, had the spread been normal, 7-8 points, it would have been a lock. And this is where the lock comes from. But at 15 points, I wasn't touching it, which drove me to the under. And the under at 44 with Cam Newton is a gift. Buffalo with a good defense. I'm surprised Carolina got 14. I think they scored. Buffalo scored, and like Buffalo, what are they doing? You're up 24-14. Why are you scoring it? You should just be running the clock out. Amazingly, incredibly bad coaching going on in the NFL, which is not a surprise because there's really only 2 or 3 good coaches. Miami and the Jets. This was my one loser. Well, New England was my one loser. This is my one Sunday loser. I had the game under, figuring who's going to score. But again, the weak defended Jets, Miami did put up 31. The strong defense, Miami, didn't show up. And this is, again, why you look at the whole picture. But how did the Jets get 24? So they scored 55, which you could never have figured. The over-under was 41-42. Again, I told you not to play Miami minus 10. That was good. They only win by 7, and they were down 17-7 or whatever. So again, probably turnovers led to the Jets' points. This is the hidden thing, the turnovers, right? Here you got the game played perfectly, but then boom, 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 here's a couple of pick sixes or block punt, something not offense and defense or a turnover. And there you go. Your under turns into an over. And that's why it's, you can't just lock every over under. Dallas and the Giants hit that perfectly. I had Dallas and 2 teasers minus 4.5 and an easy win against Glennon. My man did get in there. Jake Fromm. I saw him throw the pass over the guy's head. I don't know how long he was in. I was in and out, and I caught him at the end, so I'm happy for him. But he should be the quarterback, not Jones, and certainly not Mike. What does Mike win? 21-6. That's what we expect. Probably miss the under again with Glennon. You're not going to get points. See, when you get the bad quarterbacks, these games turn into unders if you get the right spread. Now here at 45, there was no way. I mean, you can go under 50 all day because you might get here 21 from Dallas, but then they're sitting on the ball. The Giants get a whole 6. Green Bay, Baltimore. This was a battle of the one, going for the 1 seed. Green Bay had the game won easily, up 14. Baltimore gets it late. I had 6 and I had 7, so I win, laying only 1. I know my friend Alex had 9. So you got to be careful with these 3-point things. Now, I was right. Lamar Jackson was out. Again, I watched the line move, but it moved too much. Huntley he looks like Jackson. It's like just plug in another running quarterback, and off you go. So 31-30. Again, Harbaugh needs his head examined to keep going for 2. First of all, going for 2 near the end of the game is probably like 5% that you're going to make it. So the Troy Aikmans and the Tony Romos can sit there and say, that's good. I would have done that. Bullshit, you would have done that. You never would have done that in a million years. You take the tie and you go to overtime, and anything can happen there. But the odds on you getting the 2-point conversion when they know it, when it's at the end of the game and you're down 1 and you need the 2, like in the Pittsburgh game, you're not going to get it. Kick your extra point. I don't get why they think it's such an easy thing. It's 1 play, you need 2 yards, and you're at the end zone, so you can't. 99% of your passes you can't do. You're either throwing up that stupid corner route or you're trying some ridiculous Philly special, or you're doing a twirl over, into the middle of the end zone. So I mean that's your play, but you know what? If you kick your extra point, you're going to make that 99.5% of the time, because when the pressure's on, the kicker will make it. He misses when it's 17-0 and they score, but it's 31-30 and you need the kick to tie the game. You don't think especially Baltimore has got the best kicker who's ever kicked. You think he's missing it? Take your tie and go. And if you lose in overtime, you can't say, well, Aaron Rodgers, you're just 3-0. Talking about he needed to milk the clock. You 3-0'd him. Well, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I don't get it. It's incredibly stupid. You've defeated your team. That's 2 games that Baltimore should have went to overtime with and let it happen against Pittsburgh. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, we can't stop him, which is bullshit anyway. Ben Roethlisberger, you worried about Ben Roethlisberger? We better go for it. I mean, come on. This Harbaugh, he's lost his mind. Both of them, Jim Harbaugh and this guy. So Green Bay, which should have been an easy win, gets the win. If you bet them early, you covered as soon as Lamar Jackson was out. I knew he wouldn't be healthy if he did play because I saw he got carted off. When you see a guy getting to the cart and they got to drive him to the locker room, he's not coming back next week. It's a serious injury, but the coach, of course, doesn't want to say anything. Tennessee Pitt, tease the dog was the play. The question was asked to me, who do you like? I said, tease the dog. The dog was good. Initially, Tennessee was 2-point favorite. I teased Pitt. I had Pitt in 8, easy W. Late, Pitt went to 1 or 1.5. You have Tennessee in 7, W there. So that was a tease the dog game. You got two strong teams. They both needed the game. Tease the dog, and there you go. That's how you tease the dog. That's when you get to tease the dog game. The game's even. It's a playoff game. Take the points because you don't know who's going to win. Tennessee was up 13-3. I said, oh, shit, Pitt's going to lose. I had Pitt with Green Bay. I'm going, oh, no. And then they finally came on, and then Green Bay got the win. So it was good. Houston, Jacksonville. My famous words. How the hell can Jacksonville be favored, especially with Urban Meyer fired? Who's their coach? I mean, Urban, he's like Belichick. He's it. There's nobody else there. So he's gone. Trevor Lawrence stinks. How the hell Mills pulled 30 points out? Shows you how bad Jacksonville's defense is. I had the game under 46. I get a W. Jackson, they both have weak defenses. But because neither of them have good quarterbacks, I took the game. The line's too low, like 38, 39. You almost just go over. It's just, they'll find a way to score points sometimes. Dallas, the Giants, you couldn't have, but it wasn't the same type of game. Dallas is going to run the ball. If you get a good running team, it's usually an under because they're going to control the clock. So here, Houston, Jacksonville, neither of them have any type of offense. Neither of them have a quarterback. So the play was under. And then how in the hell was Jacksonville favored? Just unbelievable. In Detroit. Now, I laid away from this game because knowing I'm not laying 12.5 with anybody in this league. Didn't do it with Buffalo, and I ain't going to do it with Arizona. It's too many points. And here you go. Detroit not only covers, they win. How does Detroit win? Kyler Murray, they look like they didn't even want to be there. Several interceptions, and the Lions suck. I mean, Goff was hitting guys. Where was the pressure? Arizona with all their sacks, no pressure. Now you have, okay, so Mr. Eye Test, now what do you think? Arizona's a great team? No, they're not even they might not even get in the playoffs. Detroit, we know they suck. There's no eye test for Detroit. They're terrible. They went in with nobody. I mean, they got Jared Goff, and they got no receivers. They got no running backs. They got no defense. And somehow they score 30 points on an A-team Arizona. I don't know. 30-12. I did like it over 47-41. I thought Arizona would score 30 and Detroit would get 14. So I was flipped. But from a score standpoint, this is why you bet over-unders. There's no way I'm taking Arizona minus 12. But, Murray's a good quarterback. They're going to score points. The Lions will probably squeeze in a touchdown or two. That's why you go over. In this case, it got flipped, but you needed 41. You got 42. So that's why you bet the over-under. You don't like laying 12. I mean, it's just too much. Atlanta and Frisco. This was my two locks Sunday. Buffalo on the under, and that was pretty easy. They scored late, and it was 45, and we had under 50. And then Atlanta, Frisco over. 46 was 40. So all he needed was 40, 31-13 in the third quarter. It was over 44. I was surprised no more scoring. I guess Frisco ran out the clock, and then you got this let's go for it on fourth down crap, which is really the overs, I think, because instead of kicking the field goal and going, they're going, and then they leave the ball at the other team's 30. It's like, dudes, just kick the field goal. Okay, it's one thing when they don't want to punt, but you can't do it inside your own 40. And once you're at the other team's 30, you should be kicking field goals. You don't go for it. 4th and 1 at the 33. What are you, or let's say at the 29, you're kicking the field goal. What are you doing? So again, another terrible coaching. Here, 31-13. I just knew Frisco's scores on here. Atlanta, I thought Atlanta would score more. Atlanta's got the weak defense, so I knew Frisco would score. Frisco doesn't have a great defense. And Atlanta's got Ryan. I mean, I knew Atlanta would get there. I thought it was like 27-17, which is also 44. So I was pretty close. Again, it was locked. I had it in multiple teasers and W's. Cincinnati, Denver. Again, I hit here. This was a pure dog. And what did I say? Denver's not playing Detroit. They won 38-10 against Detroit. They're not playing Detroit. They're playing Cincinnati. And look what happens. 15-10. You play a team with a little better defense. Denver has a strong defense, so they kept they kept Cincinnati in bay, but Cincinnati with Burrow found a way, got the touchdown. They won 15-10. We're getting 9. See, when you got a live dog like that, that's what you're looking for against kind of a weak team. Denver's not a strong team. Denver didn't scare me. Oh my God, they're going to blow out Cincinnati. Maybe like a Kansas City scares you, or Alabama or something, where they scare you because, they could just pile on the points. Well, I wasn't worried about that with Denver. And then Cincy was a very live dog in the game. They needed the game. Everybody in that division needs the game. So that made it easy. Like I said, tonight, Seattle, LA, I took the over 45. I went over 39. Didn't want to mess with LA. Again, I don't trust anybody here. Look at Tom Brady loses. So I don't trust anybody. So I got to look at the points. Seattle should score on LA. A lot of defensive people on COVID. And in Seattle, I think Russell Wilson will light it up. And, 24-21 to get into the 20s with Russell Wilson and Stafford should not be a big deal. This isn't the steel curtain or, things like that. New Orleans, Tampa, again. I had Tampa in 5. That was my only other loser with New England. So I'm losing with New England and Tampa. That's who I'm losing with. What happened? I did warn you, and I warned myself. New Orleans plays them well. They beat them twice last year and once this year. So they beat them 3 out of Brady's 4 games because they pressure Brady, right? They're able, with a 4-man rush, put pressure on Brady and make him, they just know how to get to him. And that's how you beat Brady. You get pressure. And somehow the matchups of New Orleans is line. Now, how they won in the playoffs, how Tampa won in the playoffs, I have no idea. I think they ran the ball more. But Tampa against this team needs to run the ball. Now, with Tampa, half the team's injured. You got Antonio Brown out. You got Evans out with a hamstring. You got Godwin now out with the knee. Now Evans is due back and Brown's due back. Fontenette is hurt, but he's not long. He's out. He'll probably just miss a game. Gronk can't catch the ball. That was the other thing. The guy, the Ohio State guy, did a great job on Gronk. Gronk would touch the ball and he'd slap it out. He'd just go right between his hands, chop the ball away. It was just beautiful defense. That's what you get from the Ohio State guys, right? So 9-0. I'm still shocked that Tampa Bay didn't score, but it was a very small bet. And again, laying 11, I didn't, it saved me because I would have locked them. If it was 7, I would have locked Tampa up -1. I love that lock, that 7 down to 1, because then it's just win the game. So I'm mighty glad it was an 11. It kept me from making a big bet on Tampa, and off I go again with Taysom Hill. I can't bet New Orleans. Kamara did play. If you notice in the big games, Kamara's playing. They still need it for the playoff, and that's probably what it is. They needed it more than Tampa. Tampa needed it for the 1 seed, but when you need it to make the playoffs, there's a little bit more incentive, like the Indy-New England game. Even though New England needed it for the 1 seed, Indy needed it more. New Orleans needed it more, and that's what Cincinnati, Denver, they both needed it. Pitt, Tennessee, they both needed it. Green Bay, Baltimore, they both needed it. Buffalo needed it. And then now the weird one is Atlanta, Frisco, they both needed it. But Arizona, Detroit. Detroit don't need it. One win is not getting into the playoffs. And then mini Chicago, mini needed it because they're still active in the playoffs since Chicago. Maybe they could have got there if they won, but again, can't trust Kirk Cousins. What an interception that guy threw. The guy falls down. What are you watching? Don't throw them. He throws it anyway. Well, he's supposed to be there. He fell down, Kirk. Fucking idiot. 17-10. I didn't play the game. I liked the Bears, but not with Fields. And I didn't see the under coming because both teams' defense are weak. So I just passed on it. And that's what happened. So Tampa, New Orleans, you could have played the under because New Orleans is an under team. Good defense, not a lot in offense. And Tampa's an A team, which means they got a really good defense and Tom Brady. So had you just looked at that, you would have played it under because it was 45, and you said, well, where's New Orleans? They're not going to get points. You didn't realize Tampa wasn't going to get them. So when I look at tonight's game, Philly, Washington, they're both E's, but Washington's really an under because they're on their fourth-string quarterback. And Philly being an E with a strong defense, you're not going to see a lot of points. And Seattle and the Rams, Seattle's really an under, but not really because Russell Wilson missed 5 games. So, and he's starting to play better. So I'm really ranking him as an even. And then the Rams are a B, so they squinch. They have a pretty good defense, but not a great defense. So that's the thing. So it's Stafford. So now based on what happens tonight will give me next week. Now, because now you got to figure out the puzzle. See, every week's a puzzle, and then I figure it out. And so this week is who is the 1 seeds, and where are they? Who's looking for the 1 seed? Who's needing it for the play? Although the playoffs are so screwed up this year because you're playing 17 games. So where you would be 8-8, and okay, they've won 9. Now it's another week of 9-8. Now you get to 9. Like Seattle, I think can go 8-8, make the playoffs because nobody's gotten there yet. There's a bunch of 7-7, so it brings in the 5-8 teams think they have a chance. So if I superficially take a look at it, you've got Frisco, Tennessee. I've made Tennessee a 4-point favorite. They got Frisco's a 4. Green Bay, Cleveland. Green Bay has the 1 seed, so Cleveland has a lot more incentive, but they need Baker Mayfield here. If they don't have Baker Mayfield, they don't have a prayer against Green Bay. But Green Bay still needs it to, get the 1 seed. Arizona, Indy. Indy's playing great. Arizona's off of a couple of losses. The eye test would say take Indy because they beat New England and Arizona. This is a critical game for Arizona. Indy's playing very, very well. They both need it. I think that's take the dog in the game. I'm not going to. Arizona loses to the Lions. Going to be like, oh, they'll kill Indy, who just beat New England. So it's probably a tease the dog. The Giants, Philly. I don't know. They'll probably need it, even if they lose to Washington. I have not watched the games. I know they're on now, but I want to get this taken care of. Philly and the Giants, it's a too high of a line. Philly laying 10. Let's see who the quarterback is, if it's Fromm or Glennon. Philly hurts. I don't know. Philly, you never know. When they score, they don't. Probably an under because of if it's Glennon. just because the Giants won't generate any points. And their defense is, I mean, they held Dallas to 21, which I consider good. San Diego, Houston. San Diego should, they need the game, and Houston's terrible, so they should get it. Again, watch the line. At 9, it's okay. If it goes to 14, forget about it. Atlanta, Detroit. I don't know. I mean, golf, I think, is out on COVID, so their backup is pretty bad. Atlanta, you can't trust them to win. This, to me, is another dog game. Maybe with golf out, you go under. I don't know. Atlanta. Baltimore, Cincy looks like tease the dog, especially since Cincy killed them the first time in Baltimore as a dog. They won by like 30, like 40-16. To me, this is tease the dog. Baltimore looked good against Green Bay. I'm not worried about Huntley, although I thought he was the UCLA Huntley. He's actually the Utah Huntley. He was okay at Utah, nothing special, but another running quarterback who can actually throw. He actually plays a lot better than Lamar Jackson, a much better player. So I trust that. Forget Lamar Jackson. I'd rather have Huntley out there, but I think that's a live dog. The Rams and Minnie take the dog. Minnie needs it. The Rams, they're playing now. It's Tuesday. They got to turn around and play Sunday. Keep that in mind. Now, these 4 games, these 4 teams tonight, they got to turn around and play Sunday. They're screwed. Not easy to play Tuesday and then Sunday. Oh, my God. Pardon me. A little tired. Jacksonville and the Jets, who cares? I don't know how you trust either of them. Maybe it's an over-under. I don't know. Again, neither team needs the game, so probably avoid it. Buffalo, New England. This is for the division. Tease the dog. New England is favored by 3. This is, I think, Buffalo at 9. Although you got Josh Allen, and be careful. He's going to choke. I'm warning you now. Chicago, Seattle. If Seattle wins, maybe then they need the game and they can beat the Bears. Again, with Fields against Wilson, you got to like Russell Wilson, depending on who gets injured tonight. KC, 10 over Pitt. Seems very, very high. I don't like that at all. I like Pitt getting that many points. I don't really understand the line. It's, again, based on betting. Everybody loves Mahomes, so this is like Notre Dame. Instead of laying 7, that's my line, is KC minus 7. You got him at 10. I like Pitt in 16. Are you kidding? That's huge. Oakland, Denver. I like the dog, especially when it's Oakland. Give me Denver. I know Bridgewater got a concussion, but he'll play. It's a big game, and they need it. Both teams need it for the playoffs. Washington, Dallas. Both teams need it for the playoffs, regardless. Washington's at their 4th-string quarterback. Take Dallas, lay the 4 here. Maybe under also. And New Orleans, Miami. Miami is mathematically in it. New Orleans, how they beat, this would definitely be an under, although the over-under is 39 already on it. But in my mind, this is an under game. New Orleans will kill Tagliabue, but they can't score, so this is definitely an under. A little bit too low at 39. Wait, maybe you'll get 41 or so. So that's it. So who needs the game next week? Frisco, Tennessee, yes. Cleveland, Green Bay, yes. Indy, Arizona, yes. Tampa Bay, Carolina, yeah. I believe Carolina, I don't know if they're eliminated, but Tampa Bay, yes. Philly, yes. San Diego, yes. Baltimore, Cincy, yes. LA, Mini, yes. Buffalo, New England, yes. Chicago, Seattle. I don't know if Seattle, I think if they win tonight, they might still have a chance. Pitt, KC, both teams. Denver, Oakland, both teams. Washington, Dallas, both teams. Miami, New Orleans, both teams. So when the both teams are Miami and New Orleans, or they're Denver and Oakland, tease the dog. Don't fuck around. I'm going to analyze this and that. Tease the dog. Keep it simple. That's when you tease the dog. When both teams, like Pitt, Tennessee last week, both teams were even. I teased the dog when Pitt was the dog because I prefer the home dog. And then when they went favorite, I just let it go because I already thought I had Pitt +8. Now they're laying 2. Hello, Todd. I didn't bet this past weekend, didn't feel it, and I was right. I will this coming weekend with your locks. Washington up 10-0. Jalen Hurts, 2 turnovers. Thanks. You're thanking me why? Because I told you to not bet on Philly. But yeah, Jalen Hurts. I don't know why anybody thinks he's good. He's really not. I hope the game stays under, and if Hurts keeps turning it over. See, it depends when he turns it over. But if he turns it over low, then if he turns it over at the Washington 20, then it's an under game. If he turns it over at his own 15, it turns into a over because then they just have a quick score. So you got to watch where the turnovers happen. I was surprised New England got a punt block. What is with these punt blocks? I think there's so many injuries that you got players out there that have no business playing, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to block. They don't know special, and they're all on the special teams. So they don't know how to block for a punt or these punt returns or whatever. And I think that's what's happening. So there's nothing you can do on those. They block a punt, but it's just you can't factor in block punts. Now let's look at my bowl games. I'll quickly go through the next few. I think I went all the way down to, well, let's start at the 28th, Houston, Auburn. Definitely, Auburn's an under. Bo Nix is out. Houston's a really good team, good defense. They're an 8 team. Over under 51.5. Auburn 2.5. I only looked at the under in the game. I thought that was 51. I go under 50, and I thought that's the way to go. Louisville 1.5 over Air Force. Again, I'm waiting for Air Force. The quarterback keeps saying he's questionable with some illness, so he's not injured. I can't imagine he was ill on November 6th that he won't play in the game. And going to Air Force and Army and Navy, these guys aren't sitting out. They're not prima donnas. I got to get ready for the pro draft. So I like Air Force as the dog. They're a very good team. They play in a very good conference with Boise, with Fresno, and San Diego State, and Nevada. Utah State. So I like Air Force as a dog in this game. As long as the quarterback, even without the quarterback, it won't be as attractive. But if the quarterback Danzig plays or Daniels, take your Air Force as a live dog. And I'm watching, that line hasn't moved. It's been 1.5. My line's Air Force -7, by the way. This is 1.5 Louisville. Louisville's got a good quarterback. He runs, but Air Force is so used to seeing option ball. When they play Army and they play Navy, this is not going to be a big deal for them. And good luck to Louisville stopping this offense because they're going to have their hands full. A, you can't practice it, and B, everybody wants to call this an exhibition, which is really distasteful by these announcers. So Louisville, do they want to even be there? And Air Force, believe me, they want to be there. And again, they're the dog. NC State, UCLA. NC State's 1.5, 59.5. NC State's got a pretty good defense, good quarterback. UCLA, I love them. I love their quarterback. They are explosive. Chip Kelly. I like him as the dog, and over under a 59.5, I think is not enough. I think that game goes over. The only thing not is NC State's got a pretty good defense, but I think you look at the UCLA, maybe, I don't know, who has a good defense in the Pac-10? I don't know if anybody does. And just see how that game went. And I think Arizona State. So if you look at that score, that's what you'll get here. Nick, 10 Indy look like great dogs this week, looking to have a great weekend and looking to cash with you and Todd. Tennessee and Indy. Well, I'll check your injuries. Again, eye test. Indy, Arizona lost to the Lions. So, Just be careful. And Tennessee, Frisco. I have Tennessee as a 4-point favorite. I don't really get why they're 4-point dogs. Maybe there's an injury. Julio Jones always with the hamstring for the last 5 years. So keep that in mind. But, and then see, here's what's happened, right? Everybody looks, Tennessee lost to Pitt. The eye test. Oh, look what happened last. They lost by 6. So they're going to, they're not at Pitt. They're at home against Frisco. It's a whole different game. They're not on the road. They're at home, and it's Frisco. More of a running team than Pitt with Roethlisberger. Keep that in mind. This is why you got to ignore what happened last week. It's good that Pitt won, so Pitt has momentum and stuff like that, but that's it. You can't look at Pitt this way. Who's Pitt playing? Pitt's at Kansas City. How does Pitt play a passing team? And that's what you do. You're so right. The message gets held in review when you swear, but that's okay. I don't mind it. You're so right. This eye test bullshit is ridiculous. Square bettors fall for it all the time. Well, that's what happens, right? You're looking at the last game. It's like playing poker, and you got maybe your pocket aces get cracked. So what, are you never going to play another hand? Or you hit a hand, you hit 8, 9 of diamonds, and you hit a straight, or, so that's going to happen every hand. Are you kidding me? So I agree. I mean, this is why we win. Professor wins, and most people lose. This is why most people lose, and I don't. They look at the last game, and that's how they make their assumption of this week. What I do is pull back and go, they're not, like I said, Denver's not at home against Detroit this week, 38-10. They've got Cincinnati, who's a lot better team. I like the dog. Give me Cincinnati and the dog. Forget that they beat Detroit 38-10. And that's what happened. So you take Cincy as a live dog. So that's why you've got to know your team. And when you see good teams playing each other, then you take the dog. I don't care that Denver beat Detroit. I don't care Arizona lost to Detroit. How's Arizona at home against Indianapolis? Now, Indy, they beat New England. They've been on a roll. They killed Buffalo, so they are playing very good. Will they match up against Arizona, who looks like crap? Again, on eye test, I would take Indy, but you got to be careful. We'll review the game, and then we'll really take a look at it. Anyway, back to college. So I like UCLA and the over. NC State, good defense, will score, but I think UCLA, Chip Kelly's got them playing really well. I think you can go either way. Take UCLA, or you can take the game over. West Virginia Mini, I really don't have a plan. Mini is a B, but they got so many injuries to their running backs. West Virginia's an E team. They played well at the end. Over under 45 seems low. I think over 39 and with West Virginia, many should get there, but neither team are really explosive teams. They're both pretty average. So I really don't have a desire to even play this game. There's too many I got here that I'm going to waste time with West Virginia Mini. Virginia, SMU's 2 receivers aren't playing. One is waiting for the draft. The other one I think is injured. Virginia 2.5. My first thought was SMU getting points. And then the over-under of 71 is a bit high. But when you look at Virginia, they score and their defense sucks. SMU scores and their defense is not much better. A point or two better than Virginia. So this should be an all-day fest here. SMU with Mordecai, the old Oklahoma quarterback, should light it up. Virginia lights it up. SMU's not going to stop them. The only thing that stops this game from going over is one of the coaches says, let's run the ball because we'll keep them on the bench. Even though we're great offense, let's not run our offense. That's how this game doesn't go over. But I definitely like the game over. Mary v. Tech. This is like West Virginia Mini, these Big Ten schools, Mini with no defense. Virginia Tech's pretty good defensive team. I don't know about how offense, but Maryland's defense sucks. And I think Virginia Tech puts pressure on Tagliavua Jr. here. I think V-Tech in the 9 is probably the best play just because they'll run the ball, they'll contain, they'll control it because Mary's defense is Ohio State put up 60 on it. So again, I don't really like the I don't trust Maryland as a favorite at all in this game. Iowa State Clemson, the best running back on Iowa State sitting out. That leaves Brock Purdy alone. Brock Purdy's not that good alone. I think Clemson went to 1. Iowa State was a 1-point favorite, and now I think Clemson's a 1 because the running back's out. Over under 45.5. I like the under because Clemson's an under team. They don't score a lot, and they got this great defense. Their quarterback sucks, but they started running the ball, and you're not going to run on Iowa State. They got a really good defense. This is 2B teams, both two good defenses. I think this game over under 51, I think, is definitely an under here. Oregon, Oklahoma. Oregon's best player, their defensive end, is getting ready for the pros, which really helps an Oklahoma passing team. However, Oklahoma's coach is not going to be there. He's going to be at USC, who's not in a bowl game. Or maybe they are. No, they're not. Okay. Yeah, I'm not paying attention to some of these teams. So you've got Oklahoma without their coach and Oregon without best player. Their best receivers have been injured, so they're out. So their defensive end, who's going to be a pro, maybe he's going to go in the draft. He's not playing. Over under of 61. Well, I'll tell you, I don't trust Oklahoma against anybody. Oregon did beat Ohio State 1,000 years ago, but didn't show up against Utah in either game and didn't score against Utah in either game. I don't know how you can play it over. I'm not sure how you play this game under. I'm not sure how you play this game because if Lincoln Riley's still the coach of Oklahoma, I would play Oklahoma, but you've lost the coach. So Oregon stinks against anybody good. So therefore, I just don't see this game. I don't see how you can go over with it. And I don't see how you can take Oregon in 10 after getting killed by Utah twice. Okay, the first time, but again. So this is a game I'm not playing. North Carolina, South Carolina, I don't care. It's definitely not a game to really play. I guess North Carolina is the over team. South Carolina is just a weak team. They're an under, but weak. North Carolina with a weak defense. I don't know what you do with this. I don't like the line at 9. That's too much. North Carolina is not a really good team. They're like an offensive team with no defense. So South Carolina probably scores. Maybe you go over. I don't know how you trust South Carolina. So then maybe you say, North Carolina's going to score. South Carolina can't. I'll lay the 3. Don't love it. Hard to bet them with a weak defense. I'm letting that game go. Purdue, Tennessee, a couple of Purdue players are getting ready for the draft, but nobody at Tennessee. Just watch the Tennessee quarterback, Hooker. Says he's questionable with the hand, but, he's got a month to heal it. It's a bowl game. I don't think this guy's going to sit out. So if you got it, Tennessee's 4.5. Normal Purdue, I love getting 10.5. Really, all I care about is that one guy sitting out is a defensive player, and the other guy's like a running back or wide receiver. Tennessee's very explosive team. They're an over. I think I like the game over 63, over 57 more than I like Purdue plus 10.5. However, I think Purdue and 10.5 is good. As long as their quarterback's playing, this will be a high-scoring game, and Purdue easily has the players to give Tennessee what they want. So I like Purdue at 10.5, and I like over 57 here. Pitt and Michigan State. What am I going to do? Michigan State was a 3-point favorite, and I was going to lock Pitt, and then they have to get ready for the fucking pros. So you lose Michigan State's running back. Pitt's quarterback, Pickett. So and then I'm wondering who else is going to sit out here from Michigan State and Pitt now that that's happened. The players lose interest. They go, oh, shit, my quarterback's sitting out. Why should I play? This is the problem. It hurts your program. It's disgusting and a real downer on the team because why isn't the quarterback playing? He's getting ready. The pros sitting out the game is more important to him than playing. So you guys don't mean anything. That's the problem. And then the players get pissed. Both sides, so the motivation's gone. The over-under went from 60 to 57. Pitt does not have a backup quarterback, so they're not going to score. Michigan State can score. Pitt's got a pretty good defense. I had the game over and Pitt as a lock going +9, which I now don't have. I think the game actually goes under. 57 goes to 63. I think you go under because you lost the Pitt quarterback and replaced him with the high school guy. So there's not going to be a lot of points for Pitt. They're going to play defense and run. And Michigan State, they'll probably, they're okay. But how are they going to run? The guy who made all their touchdowns isn't playing. So, this game should be low scoring. Go under 63 here. Wisconsin, Arizona State, I don't care. Wisconsin, I can't trust. Arizona State, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull the upset. I would like the game under, but 42, I go under 48. It seems like a little bit too low because Wisconsin, thinking they're unders, have been playing a lot of over games. The Michigan game, some of the other games where you didn't think they'd score 30. The Notre Dame game, So I don't trust Wisconsin under. Arizona State, I think Arizona State in 13, unless the quarterback's out, which I don't see, is probably a good play here because they got a good defense. Wake and A&M, this is a horrible matchup for my Wake team. I love Wake. They're an over team. A&M, they got a good defense. They beat Alabama, which nobody seems to remember. Alabama's number one. They lost to A&M. I mean, Jesus. Over under 58. It's hard to go over with a weak offensive team like A&M, but Wake's defense sucks, but they're the typical over team, great quarterback, score a lot of points, and give up a ton. So I can't really take Wake in 11 here. Do I go over 52 with a defense like A&M? They're not a team to go over with. So it's a bad match. If Wake was playing UCLA, I'd have locked it over in the 60s. But against a defense like A&M without an offense, they'll run it. They'll get points on Wake. I don't know how many Wake's going to get. This is like the Clemson game. Maybe, if we look at the Wake Clemson, so it's probably over 52. If you get it under 50, if it goes down to 56, I'd say go over 50. Wake will score. My Miami team, Van Dyke against Washington State, 58.5. Miami laying 2.5. Miami's defense is terrible. Washington State, they were coming out. They did beat my Oregon State team, so I don't trust the 8.5 because Van Dyke's so talented, but I think they score. I like the game over 58.5 to 52.5. Again, Miami's in the 50s, and with Van Dyke, he'll put up 50 by himself. So I really like Miami over 52.5. I mean, they're like Georgia under, Miami over every week. Speaking of that, Georgia's 7.5, 8:45 against Michigan. Matchup nightmare for Michigan. Georgia, you cannot run the ball on. The only way to beat them, and I don't know that Alabama beat them, is to do the quick passes, which Michigan can't do. They probably can do. They just haven't done it. But when you haven't done it, you can't just, we're going to play Georgia, we're going to throw short passes. You can't just do it like that. Do I trust Georgia -1.5? Do I trust Michigan at 13.5? Absolutely not against this team. So again, 45, I can go over 39. No way. I got to go under. That's my normal Georgia under. I've won 9 out of 10. The only time was the Alabama. Alabama knows their defense, and Georgia laid down. Georgia will not be laying down for this game. Georgia wins it by at least 10, and I think this game will be in the 30s. Michigan's going to run, and they're not going to do anything. It'll be into a passing game. Georgia will put pressure on them, and Michigan's all done. And Georgia's just going to run the ball down Michigan's throat. That'll be it. So I think Georgia gets the W here. Boise, what the hell is this even doing on a bowl? Boise -8. Boise's a B team. Central's an over a 55. Where are you going with it? I'd say over 49 seems like a good play there again. Central is a pretty good scoring team. They have the old Florida coach, McElrain. He scored a lot of points wherever he was. Not much defense. Boise can score a lot. Their defense is good. They'll probably get 3 or 4 interceptions, but I like the game over. I don't trust anybody there. Alabama, Cincinnati. Alabama laying 13.5 over under a 58. I will not take Alabama in this game. They are not playing Georgia. I test people. They are not playing a team who doesn't have a good defense. Not that Georgia doesn't. This is more of an Auburn game or an LSU or an A&M game. Cincinnati's going to be coming in. Think of them as Ohio State. And what did Ohio State do to Alabama? They killed them. Cincinnati, and every time you get these in the playoffs, I'm going to take the 20 against Alabama rolls them. So I can't take Cincinnati in 19, even though I think it's a good bet. I think the way Alabama gets rolling, I think over under a 58. I think you just go over 52, root for points. I'm rooting for Cincinnati, but I just honestly don't. I don't know. They had such trouble against Tulane and Tulsa. And, they did beat Houston. I just think that their defense is really good. But Alabama rolled Georgia, even though they laid down, is still a roll. So I don't know. Alabama gets going, but I think over 52 is the only way to play this game. Todd, 27-17, Georgia, my score. Yeah, I'm with you there, Todd. I absolutely. I don't know if Michigan can get 17. I'm not sure Georgia can get to 27. I'd say maybe 21-13, somewhere in that ballpark. Michigan's got a very good deal. Going to have a hard time. I look at this as like the Arkansas game. They won 35-0, but I don't think they get 35 on Michigan. But Michigan's got those 2 ends that come in and disrupt the play. So that is going to keep the score down. So that's how I look at it. But, yeah, maybe. I don't know if Georgia can get to 27, but I don't think Michigan can get to 17. Arkansas, Penn State -2.5, over under 46.5. Tease the dog in this one. 2 good teams. Arkansas, excellent running, good offense. I like their quarterback. This should be a close ball game. Over under. Probably an over. Arkansas, they put up points. Penn State puts up points. Probably over 40 is probably good too. Oak State, Notre Dame. Brian Kelly will not be coaching. Their best players are out. The running back, and then the other guy was injured. The Hamilton, the All-American safety. So without their coach, what are they going to do? Oak State is a very good team, but they did lose to Baylor. They're probably a little pissed off that they didn't make the playoff. This game's dead even with Kelly and with the guys playing. You don't have Kelly or the guys. I like Oak State in the 8.5 here. I think they're a very good team, and they're kind of pissed that they lost to Baylor. Kentucky 3 and over Iowa. Oh, and probably under in the Oak State Notre Dame game also. Oak State's got a fabulous defense. And Notre Dame's going to have trouble, and I don't like their quarterback from Wisconsin, Notre Dame's. Kentucky 3 over Iowa, 44. Kentucky's a B team, very good. Iowa, we know, can get scoring. I think I almost like it's hard to go over in an Iowa game. But I don't like under 50 in this game because I think Kentucky can score. I think Iowa in a playoff game scores. So I think I'll be okay. My internet they're reconnecting it, so I apologize. I don't know. I've been having problems with my internet here. My computer is so slow sometimes. So read back to it. Kentucky, Iowa. I don't know. I guess Iowa 9 would be a play, but I'm not playing it. Ohio State 6.5 over Utah. Over under a 65. Utah with rising, a very strong offensive team. Ohio State. Nobody's sitting out for Ohio State because they're in the Rose Bowl and they're not in the playoff. And most of their guys are young. Like the quarterback's not going to sit out. He's a freshman. I think you can take Utah in 12.5. I think should be good. But I like the over 65-59. I think Ohio State scores, Utah scores. This will be like the Utah UCLA game that hit 60, even with the back hit 70. Utah can score a lot and will against Ohio State. I like the game over. Baylor, Mississippi. Mississippi went to a 1.5 point favorite, over under 54. Baylor's got that tough freaking defense. I love Baylor as a dog in this game. 1.5. I get Baylor in 7.5. Now, Bohannon's still listed as questionable with a hamstring. He's got a month to rest the hamstring. It's a bowl game. If he wasn't going to play, he'd be out personal getting ready for the draft. But I don't see that yet. Maybe we'll see it next week. This is a January 1 game, so it could be coming. But if he's not, I really like Baylor as a very live dog here. I think they win the game by 10 points easy. Over under 54. I'd probably go under with this defense. Baylor's got a great defense. And LSU, Kansas State. The whole LSU team's hurt. Kansas State, I don't trust them. Over under 47. I don't know. Again, I would think under with Kansas State, but I don't know what to expect. This game I have no concept on, so I'm leaving it alone. So there you go. We'll probably try to do another bowl show and recap on Thursday. I'll just recap the big games probably. But there you have it. And I have 6 locks hidden away somewhere there. I think the Georgia-Michigan game is the best game. Good to watch. I think you'll see the real Georgia team show up, and good luck to Michigan to score. I'm hoping for Cincy to beat Alabama because I think they do not deserve to be there because they lost A&M and Georgia laid down for them. So I don't know, but beat them. The guy, I guess, ran out of bounds. I didn't see the game. And it was 10-3, and then Alabama gets the ball and drives the field to go to overtime. So I guess they deserve to be number 1 after that stirring performance against Auburn without Bo Nix. I don't know. Anyway, there's your bowls. So I love a lot of games there. Again, 6 locks. Again, $100 for all of them. And again, the locks are going to be in multiple plays. Now, I know some of my guys, they like big teasers. By big teasers, I mean 5 teams, 6 teams, 8 teams. This is you got at least 8 games in here that are very very strong in a teaser. So you could play a nice 8-game teaser and have a really good chance of winning it. With the pros coming up, got my mouse, like, where the fuck is it? Okay. So today is the 21st. So these games end the 27th. You can have the locks. If I find locks this week in here, and then the following week's locks still with these locks, you could theoretically play 2 or 3 big college pro games with all my strong college, and then turn around, play them again with the following week in the pros, which should be even better because then you got, okay, here's the number 1 seed winning their in Green Bay, maybe it's Tampa, maybe it's Kansas City, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's Cincinnati, but all of a sudden now you've got Cincy needing to beat Jacksonville to get in, or Tennessee's gonna, Indy's playing strong. So, so you can use these locks, these strong plays here, and with this week's plays and pro week's plays. So this is going to be a couple of nice 9-10 team teasers for me. That's for sure. Anyway, so I don't know what, again, I have the Washington under and I have the Rams over tonight. And then I can start looking at next week. I'll have all the trends in, and I can update the standings to see who needs it. Backs against the wall. Did anybody get cut out? Just saw Fournette to IR. Buck's going to have a tough time without him. And Godwin out. Well, no, they got the other running back, Jones. He's good. And Godwin, as long as you got Gronk, you got Antonio Brown, I think, is coming back next week or the week after. He's coming back. And then you got, if Evans is back, and Brady can find guys. The kid who beat Green Bay last year, he came back. Brady will figure it out. It's, again, receivers in the pros are not really hard to replace. It's not hard to find a kid who played at Western Kentucky, or he played at SMU, or he played at Texas. Not hard to find a receiver from college to play in the pros. That's not hard to do. Even the Fournette, love Fournette. They got Jones. He'll replace him. And then you got, what did Brady? Okay, let's go back to Joe Montana 1981 when he went to the Super Bowl. You know who his running back was? Bill Ring. Bill freaking Ring was Joe Montana's running back, and he won the Super Bowl. Why? Because he didn't run the ball. He threw short little passes. This is where Tom Brady came from, was watching Joe Montana throw 3, 4, 5-yard passes to his backs and tight ends. That was their running game. That's what Tom Brady will do. That's what he did at New England. What did he do? He threw little ones to Amendola, to Edelman. He didn't run the ball. You don't need the running back, especially with Brady. Don't worry about Fournette. He's just running them to bam the defense, but he doesn't need them. You got a guy named Brady, and as I say to you, Nick, and you ask about, well, these guys are injured, and I say, is Aaron Rodgers out? And the answer is no. I said, don't worry about it. You asked me that against the Lions when a lot of the players were out, and I says, is Aaron Rodgers playing? You said, yeah, and I said, and we bet Green Bay, and they killed the Lions. Don't worry. As long as the main guy is there, as long as Rodgers and Brady and Montana and Lawrence Taylor are there, that's the guy you need. That you can't replace. You can replace the receivers, and you can replace Fournette with Jones. Not a problem. The key is going to be Brady. He knows what he has, and I think he's got the Jets in Carolina. I mean, he's got 2 simple teams. So I wouldn't be concerned. They'll figure out a way, even if they got these 0 short little passes, run the clock, play defense. The whole league's injured. Tennessee, Baltimore, go through their injury list. There's got to be 30 guys on their injury list. It's unbelievable this year. That's because they don't want to get them hurt in the preseason, so everybody gets hurt in the regular season. Great strategy again. Whoever's running football are the stupidest people I've ever seen. No, don't play them in preseason. So for 50 years, Lombardi and Knoll and all these guys play their guys in the preseason. But you know better than all of them. No, we're not going to play. They might get hurt. Well, why do you think you had the preseason? It conditions the guys so they don't get hurt. I mean, the knee injury is a knee injury, and there's nothing you can do. But all these are hamstrings, and that's conditioning. They're not going out with knees. Most of them are Achilles and hamstrings, which you get from not being in condition. Anything else? What did I miss? Nick, hopefully Vegas undervalues them and we get them as dogs again in the playoffs. Well, you just, I would, we'll see. I mean, you just, maybe you want them as favorites. We'll see. But, you just go with it, right? You just look at the game, look at the dog. Do you like the dog? Again, look at the game and say, like I said last week, Jacksonville over Houston. I said, how can Jacksonville be favored over anybody? How can Miami be laying 10 to anybody? And they don't cover. So the key is looking at the game, picking the score, looking at the spread. Does it make sense? And it doesn't matter if it's Miami and the Jets, if it's Jacksonville, Houston, or Tampa Bay. Watch the matchup. So now you know what beats Brady when they can get a 4-man pass rush, and you got a cornerback like New Orleans who can cover Gronk, who's as big and fast as Gronk. That's how you beat Tampa. The problem is only New Orleans has that. Kansas City doesn't have it, and Green Bay doesn't have it. So that's why he loses. That's the matchup that gives him problems. But you can't just create the matchup. Matchups are, you have, like Michigan, they can't throw quick passes because that's not their style. They want to run the ball. You can't run on Georgia. That's the matchup. So that's what you're looking for is the matchup. That's what I mean by matchups. That's the critical point of every game. Can the offense move on the defense? Can the other offense move on the other defense? That's what you're asking. So really the key to the Michigan game is Michigan can't move on Georgia. Can Georgia move on Michigan? And I think they can get enough, but because that's going to be tough, then we go under. Same thing with UCLA, you go over, or Miami and Washington State, you go over, is because neither defense can stop neither offense. So it's going to be points. That's how we come up with an over. But you've got to have weak defense. You can't go over with Georgia. You got to go over with Ohio State. You got to go over with the Utah, with the Miami, with the UCLA teams that they're going to put up 40, 50 points against, unless they're playing Georgia, then you just take the game over. It's very simple. So that's really what you're looking for. The defense dictates what you do with an over-under. And so I got to look at my pros. Again, Washington with their 4-string quarterback's not going to score a lot of points. So you're either betting against Washington or you're betting an under. So next week we got Washington, Dallas. Again, it's probably an under because Dallas' defense probably will shut them out. Dallas, they score. Over under I see is 47. That's where you come up with the lock under. I haven't locked it. I haven't even looked at it, but that would be where I'm going to get a lock is a high over under with the team with the 4-string quarterback. Where are they going to get the points? Let's see. Where's the Bears at with my man Fields? They're 44 with Seattle, Jacksonville, and the Jets. I've never seen so many horrible games where Jacksonville, Miami, Jacksonville, the Jets in Miami. Then they throw in Jacksonville and Houston. What kind of schedule is this? Jacksonville is not in the Jets division in Miami and Houston, but they're playing all the shit teams, and they still can't win. All the shit teams are playing each other over and over and over. It's ridiculous. Who's Miami? Get another shit team? Miami is they got New Orleans, who's okay. They're a little bit better, but so that's what you look. So again, the Jacksonville Jet game, you probably want to play it under, but you don't know. And San Diego, Houston with Mills, Philly, and the Giants. The Giants are on their 3rd-string quarterback. But if it's Fromm, be careful. Tampa Bay, Carolina, all the injuries to Tampa, and Carolina's got freaking Cam Newton. There you go, under again. So that's how you really look at it, is it's the quarterback. That's why the Pitt Michigan State game with the Pitt quarterback out, I can't go over. I can't take Pitt. So when you got a good quarter like Brady, if he's the dog, I'm betting him all day. He's going to keep you in. He'll probably win the game. That's what Pickett would have done. Pickett would have won the game. Would have been Walker against Pickett, touchdown, over, take the dog, turns into probably an under, because where are you going to get point? Pitt's going to get shut out. Michigan State without their running back probably isn't going to do much. They'll score a little, but Pitt's got a really good defense. So it's now taken a lock over. So it went from a lock, Pitt and 9, go over 54 to probably can't play Pitt without a quarterback and probably under 63, because and that's how simple it goes when you lose the key players. That's how important the key players are. That's a good lesson learned in our class today, is keep an eye on the key players. That's what does it. Miralee Glende. Again, you're giving me this Vasef Tech. Okay, I don't. This is the third person. I've asked you, what do you mean? I'm not getting an answer, so I don't know what you're doing. Vasef Tech. Okay, I don't need. Don't bother people with this stuff if you can't. If you don't know what you're asking, and now I think it's a joke, so I will not respond to this anymore. Anyway, so there you go. The key players are what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. So again, when they sit out, you got to act according. And usually it goes from an over to an under, because you've lost. You're losing. A star will score you points. Look at Miami. They went from King, and they were getting shut out and beat, to Van Dyke. All of a sudden, they're scoring 45 points a game with Van Dyke. So there, the star comes in, they start scoring. So that's what you got to look at. Anyway, so that's it. That's the review. I'll review the pros. I'll probably do a Thursday show, as I'm traveling Friday. I'll probably do a Thursday show to wrap up both pro and college. The bowls I'll review, and the pros we got to look at. And I'll try to set the table for the following week, because I doubt I'll do a show from Europe. I wouldn't count on that. When I get back, we'll do the pros, but I doubt that. I might be back for the playoffs. I'll be back on the 2nd. Well, yeah, late on the 2nd. So we'll see. Anyway, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Good luck. Again, huge college week coming up. $100 for all the bowls, $200 for all the games. So you can bet 8, 9, 10 team teasers with the 6, 7, 8 college games, plus a couple of the pros this week and a couple of the pros the following week. Make some serious money. All right, everybody. Have a nice night. Merry Christmas. The Professor signing off. Thank you, everybody. www.teaserking.com. You got questions, please email me from there, and I'll be happy to respond, and we can go from there. All right. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Have a nice, safe, happy vacation.